Okay, so these are the ponchos that I have done recently, and this is what we'll be working on today. I will be making a 1 to 3 year old poncho today. The first one that you see here, this one was made for a 4 month old. The spacing around the neck was 48 stitches to start this, and all of my ponchos that I'll be making will have the collar. So I will show you the basics for just making all of them, how to get your dimensions in order to create one for any size, but we will be working on a child size today. This one right here, I'll be recreating this one. This is a 1 to 3 year old with the cluster border. So we will be doing the cluster border today. And we will be putting sleeves on all of our ponchos for kids. But I will be using this color palette in order to create that. And this one right here, we have started with a chain of 64 in order to achieve this. And this is for a 9 year old girl. So we're at our neck, we went 64 to begin for this one. And I'll show you how you get your measurements for your piece and we'll recreate. Okay. Okay, everybody. So welcome to Ages Crochet Corner. We will be recreating this lovely pattern, well, the color palette for our poncho. Today we'll be making a poncho for a 1 to 3 year old. Okay. So just so you know, you can make a poncho for any child age by measuring their head. So whatever the area is from forehead to forehead for their head, and you can also use a head chart for like a hat and whatever. So if it says 17 inches around their head, then that's what you would do. You would chain up to 17. If it is 19 or 20 or whatever it is, you would just be chaining that amount in multiples of 8. Okay? In multiples of 8. You want to always keep your thing in multiples of 8. So say if you're chaining the 20 and you've gotten to 20 and you're too shy of having the multiple of 8, then you would just chain that extra 2, or you can always decrease. That will be your choice. It would just be smaller around the neck. So all of these ponchos, this is the measurement for the poncho with the turtleneck top. Okay, so that's how you can make one for any size by just measuring the head or taking a hat circumference chart and using those measurements to make your to get your neckline, because you just want it to be able to go over their head. So once you have a hole big enough for them to go over their head, you'll start, but you have to keep with the multiples of 8 in order to keep with the pattern. Okay, so we have that. So we are going to start, and I'm using Red Heart, Jumbo Saver in white, and Heather Gray. And this is a Walmart brand. I wanted to try it and see how it was mainstream. And this is pink. And it actually, I used it for this piece and it worked out pretty good. And it feels amazing, nice and soft and pillow-like. So I really like it. So we are going to begin, like I said, 1 to 3 year old, and I'm going to begin with a chain of 56. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. So once I have a chain of 56, I'm going to make sure my chain is not twisted, okay, not twisted, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the first chain. So slip stitch, grab your yarn, come through here, and then come through on the other side, okay, and there you have it, little hole. Now we're going to, for this one, like I said, we're going to do the same pattern. So as you see on this one, the white is where I'm beginning right now. I'll work from the top down below, and we just put simple double crochets around for a row. So because this is a smaller child size, I'm only going to make half doubles, okay? So if I was doing a larger kid size like this one, I would be using double crochets. But because we're using the smaller kids, we're doing half doubles. So chain up 1, 2. Okay? And that chain right there counts as our first hole. So the hole that we slip stitched in, that chain 2 goes for that chain. So we already have our first one. We do not have to work back into this chain because this one holds the place for this for that stitch. So now we go into our next one, and we're going to make a half double. And we're going to make half doubles all the way around this whole beginning piece. So I want you to do that. Just make a half a double around the whole piece. If you are making for a larger child, anywhere from 3 and above, then you would be doing doubles. If you're with me and you're making this size, 1 to 3, then you are doing half doubles. You go around this whole piece, and I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, I have come to the end of mine. I counted. I do have 56, and you want to make sure that you have 56 before you join. And also, sorry, we are using a 5mm hook. I did not mention that. So I work all of my children's sizes with a 5mm hook. So regardless if you're making this size or the other size, you will have a 5mm hook. Now I'm going into the top of the first chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch in there. Okay, now our next row, I'm going to chain up 1, just 1. Now I'm going right back into the same hole for this one, and I'm going to make a double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going into the next hole, and I'm going to make another double crochet. Okay, and the next hole, and make another double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 1. That chain 1 holds the space here, so I'm going to skip that space there, and I'm going to go over again and make another chain, a double crochet, and then yet another double crochet, and over again and make another double crochet. And I'm going to chain 1, skipping the next stitch. I will go in the following stitch and I will make another double crochet. So what we're doing now is we're making 3 double crochets, chain 1, and skip a stitch. So 1, 2, 3 double crochets, chain 1. You're skipping this stitch, so you're going into the next stitch here. Okay, so 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 1, skipping a stitch here. I'm going to go to the next one, and we're going to go all the way around like that. Chain 1 into 3, chain 1 after every 3. Chain 1, skip a stitch here, and we're going to make 3 double crochets in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip that stitch in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1, skip that stitch. In the next stitch, you're going to make another double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and keep going all the way around. Chain 1, skip that stitch in the next stitch. So keep going around to the end with the same method. Chain, after you chain 1, skip the stitch, and 1, 2, 3 doubles in the next 3 stitches. Skipping that one. I'm in my last one, so I'm crocheting 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, chain 1. There should be 1 space there, so we want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we made. So slip stitch right in the top of there. Right, and this is our top portion. Now we will start to make our clusters. So let me take this off of here. You will, if you fold this in half, here, you will notice now we have, we don't have clusters, but we have 3 doubles together. So this is our beginning portion right here. This is where we're at. This will become our increase point, one here, and then you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in between. And when we come here, we will make this an increase point, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're back at where we began. So let us start. So to make our points on our poncho, I want you to chain 1. And I want you to yarn over, and I want you to go back into this hole. So, and make a double crochet. Okay, go back into the hole and make another double crochet. And back into the hole and make another double crochet. Right? So we have half of our increase. Now we'll make the other half when we come back around. Chain 1 until all the other existing holes we have here. I want you to just make a cluster of 3 double crochets. So we're going into that hole and making 3 double crochets. And we're always going to chain 1. So we're going to go into the next hole and make 3 double crochets. Go into the next hole and make 3 double crochets. In our next hole, 3 double crochets. Chain 1 at the end, and go into the next hole and 3 double crochets. Chain 1. So we're going to make 3 double crochets in it as well. Chain 1. Now this should be our increase row. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is. So in here, we're going to go in and make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to then chain 2. 1, 2. And then go right back in and make 3 more double crochets. And then chain 1. So that is how you make each increase and make each corner going down the line. Okay, so we're going to go all the way back till we get to the end and make 3 double crochets, which I will be referring to as clusters from here on out, because they're clusters of double crochets, and we'll make a cluster into each hole going back down. And always remember chaining 1 in between every cluster. It's a very easy poncho. Once you get to this point and you get this row established, everything else is really, really simple. You're just going into each hole except for when you get to the corners, which are very visible. So you will never should miss your, well, not corners, these are points, so you would never miss your points once you get this row established. And for the size that I'm making now, the 1 to 3 year old, I'd say in a good day I can have this worked up, so I'm going to count it as an easy project. And I say a good day, that's just my little ones aren't running around, and I kind of got a free hand. Now once we have gotten back to here, we are going to go back in here because this is one of our points. So we're going to finish off our point and go back into where we put our first cluster 3 times. 1, making 3 doubles inside of there. 2 and 3. Chaining 2. I want to connect on the top. Do it again. The top of the chain 3 that we had here, began with. I want to go in there and slip stitch. Slip stitch. There you go. And that is our first row of points increases. So we had 2 rows, the half double or double crochet if you're doing the larger size, and a row of doubles grouped in 3s, and then we started our clusters and our points. Okay, so I'm going to switch colors now. I will not be doing any slip-on color changes. I will be ending all my colors off just like this and weaving in all of these little ends later on. So my next color I want to go to is gray. Now you can keep this in one solid color. You can switch colors like I am. You can switch colors as many times as you would like to. And again, like I said, you cannot switch colors at all. But if you're switching colors like me, then we're doing it now. So once we get our yarn added back on, right in there, I want to chain up 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going right back in this hole 3 times. Well, 2 times, because our chain 3 right here counts as a double. So we're going to go right back in here. I'm going to chain 1. We will not be working in these ends. We will be weaving them in later because we have such a large gap from here to here. If we tried to hold this down and work this in with us, then we would have a band at the bottom of each piece, and that would not look pretty. So we will be weaving in all ends later. We will not be working in over ends. So we're going to go to the next space, and we are going to put a cluster of 3. Chain 1, cluster of 3, and then chain 1, cluster of 3, and then chain 1. And we will be doing this all the way till we get back around to our point on the opposite side. So work it all the way up to the point, and then we will go in and create our point yet again. And I'm coming up to my point on my last cluster of 3 right before that. Chain 1. Now right in here we're going to do the same thing as as we did last time. We're going to chain, we're going to make a cluster of 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and go right back in that hole and make another cluster of 3. And we will do that every time we come to this point. You will chain, you will make a cluster of 3, chain 2, and then make another cluster of 3. And then once you're finished, you chain 1 and you keep going right on out all the way till we get back around to the front portion. Chain 1, cluster of 3. Like I said, once you get to this point, it's very simple. Unless you're switching colors, you're just going to keep going out, because it will keep growing as you go on. Every row will continuously grow. So you're just going to be doing this until you reach your desired length. And I will give you the lengths that I made for both of these. But once you get to your desired length, that's it. Let's see, we're almost back around, are we? A few more. Chain 1, cluster of 3, and chain 1, cluster of 3, and chain 1 here. Now we're back to the beginning. This is a point as well, so we will be finishing off our point by making a cluster of 3. 1, 2, 3, and chaining 2. Then we are going to find the top of the chain 3 that we begin with, and you will go through there and slip stitch. And I am changing colors here, so I'm going to cut my yarn in a good enough place for me to be able to weave my end in later, and I will just go straight through and pull my yarn out. Okay, and that is what that row looks like. It's growing already. Now I'm going to switch to my pink. To add my pink, I will wrap around my finger, cross it over, pull it off my finger, put the end piece through my hole and on my hook. I am going to chain up 3, 2, 3. Again, we're not going over our yarn ends. And we're going to make 2 double crochet because the chain 3 is already considered a double crochet. And then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to go back around this again. So I am going to keep doing this, and you're not going to change anything but your colors. You're just going to keep going around and around till you get your desired length. Now for my 1 to 3 year old, I am making 19 rounds of points. When I say of points, I mean from this point where you started making your points, I will have 19 point rows. Okay, so I'm going to make 19 point rows to get to where I want to be for my 1 to 3 year old. If you are doing a larger size, let's see, I have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I have 25, 26 rows on this this one right here. So if you're making a larger size, as you see, you would just adjust it to where you want it to be. This one right here that we're doing, we're going to go down 19 rows in the point rows. So we count from your point 1, 2, 3, and so forth and so on. If you want to follow the pattern that I'm following, I am following this pattern right here. So I will be making 3 rows of pink, then I will change to gray, then go back to pink, then to white, then to gray, and down as many rows as I need to in order to establish the length that I want. And so we're going to go over the last point again, just so you clear on your points, and then we're going to go off camera and I'll come back and show you what the piece looks like once we have the length that we need. So let us get to the next pointer. Well, I keep calling them corners, but points. Like I said, it's very easy. It's going to grow all on its own. You don't have to worry about counting from this point on. I love this project. I make a lot of complicated projects, and in between all of that, it's nice to have some peace and quiet and do something that works up very, very lovely. Looks like it took so much detail and time, but you can relax with it. All right, so we are coming up again to our point, and I'm going to go in here 1, 2, 3, a cluster of 3, chain 2, and another cluster, chain 1, and go right back around. And keep on going. And this is turning out really, really pretty. I really love these colors for a little girl. Now this one, when I'm done, I don't think I'm putting tassels on this one. I think I want to not have all of that to worry about with a toddler, but I will show you how to put the tassels on this one, just in case you're making one with tassels. You'll have that information for yourself. We are almost back around to our beginning. And remember, when you are starting out each row, you are not making your points on that row. You're not finishing that first point until you get to the end of that row. All right, and go right back into that hole, and you're going to make 3 clusters in there, chain 2, and join in the top of chain 3. Now, because we are not switching our colors here, we will chain 1. When you're not switching your colors, you will chain 1 and double back and go right through the hole, just like we did when we first started. Okay, so when there is no color change, you will chain 1 and go right back into that hole. one here, and keep going around. So you have your pattern. If you're following the same pattern as I am, this is your template. That's why I have it here as my template. And for this size, we're going down to 19 rows. So I will be back and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so we have 15 inches from our point, our starting point, to our bottom point. There are 15 inches in this, okay? And also that equals out to 19 rows. So if you need yours longer, this is the point where you would just keep going. And again, I'm making for a 1-year-old, so this is a good size for me right here. So the next step, I want to put sleeves on my piece. Just a little cuff sleeve on my piece for a toddler. I think it holds it in place nicely on them. So I want to make sure all of my points line up. Starting here, this point and this point, I want to make sure all of my clusters line up here and all of my clusters line up here. Now I have already gone along and placed little pieces of yarn where my sleeves will start and where they will stop. So for this 1-year-old, I am going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm taking 6 clusters and I will work that around for the little cuff sleeve. And I have 6 on this side. So if you're making a larger size, you just want to block off how many you would need. If you were making for an older child, you would probably go down a little bit further and make your cuff as large as you would like it to be. So block off where you need yours to be. Again, for 1-year-old, I have 6 clusters blocked off, but we want to make sure we make it even first because we don't want it to be crooked. So once you have yours blocked off, let us begin making one little cuff sleeve. So we're going to take our yarn and add it on our finger. I am going to work starting here. So slip that out of the way. We are going to go on the top of our first cluster right there. And we are going to add on our yarn. Okay, and I'm just going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm going to go in the top of the next one in that cluster. So that's the second one. And I am going to make another double crochet. Wrap around and go into the next top of the cluster and make another double crochet. Now in the chain 1 space, I'm going to go right into this space, working over our ends as we go right here, and I'm going to make another double. So you're going to go on top of each of the 3 clusters and make a double crochet. And then you're going to go into the chain 1 space and make a double crochet. And you're going to continue that all the way out until you get to your next point. And so you don't miss a space, just count 1, 2, 3, chain 1 space. Okay. Open that up. 1, 2, 3, chain one space. 1, 2, and 3. Now we've come back to where we're supposed to stop. So I want you to take your piece. You want to put both of the ends together here. So we have to close off this area, right? Move my little markings to the side. And I want you to make a double. First going through this chain one space, right? And then going through the back end chain one space at the beginning. Pull up and make your double crochet. As you see, that joins the spaces together. I'm going to take these out of here now so you can see it a little bit better. That out of here. So that joins the spaces together. Now we're going to slip stitch into our first chain 3. We're going to find the top and we are going to slip stitch. Okay, so we have our little armhole for a little person. And now what we are going to do is we're going to start making front and back posts. So chain 1. Now our first chain on our chain 3 from the previous, we want to go behind. Grab our yarn, pull up, and make a double crochet. Yarn does not want to stay on my hook. So for a back post, well, front post, we want to go in front of this double crochet and then go through here and make a double crochet. Now again, we want to pull this one forward, so we're going to go behind it, grab our yarn, pull up, and make a double crochet. Now we want to push this one back, so we go behind, go in front of it, and grab our yarn and come back through. And we are going to continue doing that all the way around. Grab our yarn, go behind, grab your yarn, come back through. Okay. Grab our yarn, go behind it, grab our yarn. So we're pushing back and pulling forward. We're going to pull this forward by putting this in the back of it, and we're going to push this back by putting this in, putting the double in front of it. And we're just going to keep going around like this. So do that until you get to the end. And such little sleeves, it takes no time at all to go around this. And right back around to the front, pushing that to the front, and pushing this one behind, pushing this one in front and pushing this one behind. And just alternate all the way around. And this one goes in front. And our last one is the one we use to join them together, close it together. And you're going to go behind. You should always end behind. You should not have two of the same posts, front or post right here. It should always work out like that. Now you're just going to slip stitch into that first piece, and that is it. Chain up one, and we're going to do that all again. So the ones who already have front posts, we're going to continue to do that, and the ones that are in the back posts, we're going to continue to do that. So we're going to go all the way back around again. Ones that are in the back are going to stay in the back. And the ones that are in the front will stay in the front. And keep going all the way around. And back and front. Back. And front. All right, a few more stitches and we'll be all done this portion. And you can go ahead and do your other arm. And once we come to the end here, ending in a back post, we're just going to slip stitch right into the top of where we begin. And chain one, pull it down tight. Going to cut off, leaving enough to weave in later on, and pull that down tight. Okay, and there you have it. We have one little sleeve. So like I said, if you're making for a larger child, you want it to be a little bit bigger. This will fit in around the lower portion of their arm. Depending on how big you made it, it may make it all the way down to the wrist. Okay, so I will do this, and then we'll come back and we will do the neck. Okay, so now we have both of our sleeves on. So that is done. So now we want to start working our collar. Now I count this where you have major joints. This to me is the back. So I want to start in the back because I want all my join stitches to be in the same place. So we are going to take and place our hook anywhere around here, working in the tops of the half doubles or double. If you did the larger size, you're doing doubles. But working inside the on the tops of our half doubles We just want to find a place and slip our hook. Now remember, for this one, we started with a chain of 56. So we should come out with 56 as we go around. And we are just going to go around again with half doubles until we achieve the height in which we want for our neck. Now for you, that may be something different than for me, but I'm going to go around this top piece 3 times and half doubles. Okay, so starting here, and we're just going to go right around on the top of each one, making half double crochets. And we're going to go around this 3 times, and this right here, what we're doing now is giving us our neck. So we want to go the height we want to go for our neck. So I'm figuring a small child, I only want to go up 3. A larger child, probably still the same 3. And because we will be doing a ridge, the back, front and back posts again, it still would fit over the head fine. All right. So we almost around. And I say 3 rows for my liking. Again, if you want to make yours longer, more, you want more neck, I should say, you can always add more neck by just, instead of doing 3 rows, going up more rows. But once we get to the end of these 3 rows, we will be adding our front and back posts, and that is where our fold will come in to create our outside. This part will not be seen because it will be on the inside of the turtleneck. So I am almost back around to my beginning. Almost missed this stitch. Almost back around to my beginning. And here. And we have one more stitch here. And we're just going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 that we started out with. Chain up 1, 2. And this chain 2 is counting as your first half double. So as you see, that it is counting. And you want to keep going around again. So do this 2 more times, and I will see you at the end of that. Okay, everybody, so I wind up going with 4 rows, and 4 rows gives me about 2 inches, okay? Just shy. So go up 4 rows instead. Well, that is what I'm doing, and I like that a little bit better. Okay, so once you have your 4 rows, chain up 1, and we are just going to be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch around. 1 single crochet in each stitch around. What this single crochet row does, this will give us a natural fold. We will have a natural fold because we've done this single row of crochet. So when we go to flip down our piece, it will flow naturally. And once you get back to the beginning, slip stitch into that first one and chain 1, 2, and 3. So we will be making double crochets at this point, and you're going to do a whole row of double crochets. So we're going to go into each of our singles and make 1 double crochet all the way around. Now, once you get to the end, you are going to slip stitch into the top and chain 1. You are now going to begin to make your front and back posts. So we're going to go behind, pushing that one in front, and make a double crochet, and go behind here and push this one to the back. So the same front and back posts that we have done on the sleeves, we will now do around here. Pushing this one back, pushing this one back, and pulling the next one forward. And you will do this 5 times. So once we finish this row, we will just keep with the same. If it was a front post, it will still be a front post. If it was a back post, it will still be a back post. And we're just going to keep going along, pushing one back and bringing the next one forward. And pushing one back. And bringing the next one forward. And again, we will do this row 5 times. And again, we will do this row 5 times. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you back once you've completed that. Now, we have our sleeves. We have just finished going around here 5 times. We did 1 row of doubles, and then we went around 5 times with the front and the back posts. And you see how that turned out. I think the neck is marvelous. Look at that. Absolutely marvelous. I feel no need, I feel like this is a perfect size. No need to add anything on or take anything off. And remember that row of single crochets that we made here? You see when you go to fold this down that it gives it an automatic fold right there. And it's perfect. Okay, so the last thing that we have to do is put around our border edging. I am going to be using a fan border on this, but just in case you would like to use tassels, let me go into a tassel making frenzy for a second. I usually use any random item, the size or the length that I want my tassels to be in. I do not want my tassels to be this long, but then I'm not putting tassels on this. I'm just demonstrating. So once I have something, and I love this book, by the way, so I would just take and hold at the bottom and wrap around this And if I'm making a bunch of tassels for a project like this, I would just wrap around like dozens and dozens of times, because I'm going to be constantly using these things. But because I'm just demonstrating, I'm going to stop here. I want to cut my extra string off the bottom, and then I just want to cut at the bottom, and it'll give me even ones all around. I am going to take 2 of them folded. It makes 4 tassels, and you always want to use a larger needle than what it is that you're using. That would help pull your tassels through. So you find your placement, hook your tassels on, pull them through. Once you have enough through to where you have a loop like this, grab your loop, grab your tassel, pull through, tasselage, okay? And that is how you would make tassels if you wanted to make tassels all the way around your piece. But I don't want to do tassels. I want to do the fan. I make a fan stitch. So that is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to continue that in our gray. So this is my normal needle, the hook, and I'm going to turn my work upside down. Upside down, yep. And I'm going to start in this corner and work all the way to this corner right here. So I think I have enough gray in my little tiny ball. I'm going to attach my yarn to my finger with an almost knot. Here we go. And I'm going to find my first corner, not corner, but first edging right here in between, right up under the little tiny sleeve. And I'm going to place it there and attach my yarn right here. Okay, so now that I have my yarn attached, I want to go in and make a fan stitch into the next space. So let's turn it this way so we can easily see. So yarn over, we're going to make 5 doubles into this space. Okay, 1. And don't make them too tight, because you don't want this to buckle. So not super loose, but relaxed doubles, I'll say. And you want to place 5 double crochets into this space right here. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so then I want to go into the next space and I want to make a single crochet, and in the next space I'll be doing that again and making 5 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I want to make a single crochet here. Going into the next space, making 5 double crochets. And 5, and then the next makes a single crochet. Next space 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next space, single crochet, and again 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And into the middle, because we're at our point, we're going to make a single crochet. And you can see how that's turning out. And you see why I said make them relaxed. And if you're making it and you made it too tight, they've started to buckle over this way, and you don't want that. You can always place, instead of 5, you could put 6 double crochets into the center, instead of making 5, make 6. That's another way, but I like the 5, but just don't make them too tight or they will start buckling over like this. So you see how that looks, and I think it gives a nice border. And like I said, I didn't want the tassels. I might, for fun, go back and maybe put tassels here, 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 and that's something else to do. Is like you can have this, but you can still have your tassels along with that. But I'm just not in that mode right now. I might change, because I change. So listen, we're here. So we want to, because this is the center point, sometimes when you're doing it, depending on what size you're doing, your points, if you're doing the fan border, will turn out at different spots. So it might get to be, you might be making a little bit bigger one, and yours is landing perfectly here. So if you go by this rule of make the fan in one and then skip one, make the fan in one, not skip one, and single crochet in one and make the fan, and then single crochet, that might land you at a different point than where I am, because if you're not making the same size, it's obvious. So if you're doing this border, kind of play around with it. If you, again, like I said, want to add more, or however you want to do it, but yours might turn out a little bit differently than mine. So I'm going to go over here and keep going back up the side. Three, 4, and 5. And I'm going to single crochet. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and single crochet. One more fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to single crochet into our last stitch. our yarn. And that is our border. And I absolutely love this border. Like I said, you could do the border and still come along in between these and put tassels and tassels right here, and that would look absolutely pretty. Um, Now, having said it 2 times, I think I probably will wind up doing it. I don't know. You will always see my finished product on a little model. I've made this one for my great niece, but it is the same size as one of my daughters, so I will try that on her and see how it turns out. Now, you have to turn over and repeat the border on the opposite side. It's because we made sure everything was even. It should come out the same number count. It should look identical to the front part. And once you have done that, the only thing left for you to do would be to just weave in all of your ends, making sure to catch the ones on the sleeve, on the head part, and I will demonstrate one just in case you have never weaved in an end before. I will demonstrate on one of these. So I'm going to just put this extra yarn onto my needle. And I just want to find a point and go in. Pull that through. And then I want to do it again. And just your random spots, just go in a couple of times, as many times as you need to feel secure that your project will not unravel on you. And I'm going to go in again. And through here. After secure with that, I'm just going to cut off the extra. And that is just simple weaved in. And I'm going to take this one right here. Just putting the yarn on the needle. Finding a place where you want to go in. And weave it back and forth as many times as you need to feel comfortable. Now, if you're like me and you don't make your long yarn strand too long, I guess that won't be as many times. Like that. You also, if you have made yours too short, you can always feed your needle in wherever you want it to go. Then put the yarn on the needle. And then pull through. That works too. Clip off your ends, and you just have to do that around your whole piece. Of course, after you finish the other side of your border. And I will see you back with a model, and we'll see how the finished product looks. Okay?